the person on your left or right and say, "You've got this."
You've got this.
Turn to the person behind you and say, "You did that fantastically." Okay, right. Now, how was that? Okay, that's good. What that does, what it gives you, is the opportunity to go through the entire thing in your mind before you go anywhere near it. So anything that you do, you condition your brain to be in a positive state, emotionally, physically, and your feelings and everything before you go in. So when you go in, the context of your brain has already gone, this place is comfortable. Get the idea? So when you walk through the door, your brain will go, "Here, get this, this," or not. But you know what I mean? Because your brain doesn't always give up. So, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can do, like if it's somewhere you haven't been before and there's no way you can get forward?
Yeah, I mean, if that does come up, if you can't find anything, usually you can, because usually someone's been in there before, usually, and you might know someone who has, so you can put out things. Has anyone ever pitched in so-and-so? You know, I don't know, yeah, what's it like? What's the room like? Or what's she like? What's it like? You can get, this is the detective. Remember the detective? You have to find out all this stuff, find out what's going down.
Even maybe a photo of the person you're pitching to.
Maybe a photo. Is it carpeted?
Do your homework.
Do your homework. It comes back. All the research is about the preparation, right? And before we move, has anyone got any? Paul, you've got a question, Paul.
No.
Well, I was just going to say, there's one other thing I want you to try and get hold of. Is it all right if we go over by 10 minutes?
We started a little later.
Is that okay, guys?
Yeah.
10 minutes over? Because I'm going to take out. I don't want to do that. Hold on. There you go. Okay. This is how you can drill it in, so you can make it something that happens. Every time, when you were doing the pitching, you're doing the kind of, connecting with the love of your story. Who wants to give me 3 words that sum up how they felt about their story?
Exciting.
Tolerance.
Pain.
And
Exacerbation.
Okay, but what about how you felt about the pitching? Not about
those things.
Yeah, but I want you to think positive things.
Yeah.
Not misery, suffering, depression. Pain, things like confidence, and things of how you feel about pitching your story. Has anyone got a passionate?
Uplifting, successful.
There you go, right? Passionate, uplifting, successful. Okay, that's your 3 words, okay? I want all of you to find 3 words that you would sum up your entire story. And then, every time, between now and the time you actually do your pitch, I want you to say those 3 words to yourself as you go through a door, like this. What were the 3 words?
Passionate, uplifting, successful.
Passionate, uplifting, successful. Pass. Passionate, uplifting, successful. Okay? Passionate, uplifting, successful. Okay? So, right? Get the idea? Every time you come through a door, I'm joking, obviously. As you come through a door, passionate, uplifting, successful. Right? Now you can do that speaking it out, or you can do it coming through the door. And every time, between now and the time you do your thing, say these 3 words to yourself as you come through the door, right? Because it'll connect you to your story, why you're there, and everything about it as you come through the door.
Positive affirmation.
Positive affirmation. And every single time you go through a door, you'll be reminded. Every time.
3 words. Every word.
It's more about your connection to it. It's about your purpose. Let's say, one of the ones I use is, energetic, centered, and fun. Right? That kind of thing. Something that makes you feel, how do I feel about it? Yeah, energetic, centered, and fun. Right. So every time I go through a door, I go, right? You do that through 30 doors, what do you think is going to happen to your level of skill? What do you think? Are you going to, I mean, and every single time you go through a door, every single time, you just run those 3 words off.
Yeah.
If you're going into a meeting with somebody you're not sure about, confidence is useful, right?
Yeah.
So you can develop your confidence using your 3 words before you go through every door. And if you want to make it even better, think about the physicality of it. You know, as you come through the door, and I sometimes do the clicks, because a click is an anchor, and it anchors the feeling. You can also do it with tapping. You can come in through the door and just go positive. Or you can go. Or you can go. Right, do anything. Yeah. This is the guy. Yeah. Hi, hello. Hi, I've come to pitch a project. I went to Nick Dunning's thing about pitching a project. Positive. But you can try and do it subtly, it's better. You know what I'm saying? Do you get the idea though? So every time you walk through a door, you say those 3 positive, uplifting words that will create a feeling of confidence in your body. You will learn how to be incredibly confident about what you're doing. And the best news is, nobody needs to know you're doing it.
There was a video the other day from VMAs, and Liz Owen, the artist, and she got the whole audience to say, I want you to come tonight and say, I love you, you're beautiful, you can do anything. So the whole audience was saying it. So the next day I started doing it, and I walked out and they were like, you look really happy today, you seem like you're in good form. So it's just like, I think it's 21 times to do something for it to become a habit.
Yeah.
So the more you say it, the more you believe it.
So go through 21 doors.
Yeah.
That's all you're going to do. If you want to be confident in 21 minutes time, walk through 21 doors now. Just do that. It really does it. And there's a difference between, can you see the difference between positive, uplifting, positive, uplifting, successful, positive, uplifting, successful, positive, uplifting, successful. That's the way not to do it. So you need your body up, you need the energy we're talking about, positive, uplifting, successful. Every time you go through the... Yeah? Get the idea? Who's going to practice that? Pretty cool, huh? Right. Now, how much time have we got?
As long as you want to give.
I don't know. Well,
not till 6 o'clock.
well, I was thinking of next Wednesday. But, well, there's a couple of little things. One is a thing called sleep learning. This is something you can do. What I'm going to speed it up, right? Because I've got too much stuff, and I'm also mindful people need to have eats and things. So one of the things you can do is called sleep learning. As you go to sleep at night, you can, if you've got your what do we call it? Invitation to collaboration. As you're running through your invitation to your collaboration at night, or this works for auditions, or anything to do with film, television, anything like that, all that kind of stuff, run it through your brain 3 times. You get the idea. You can do the van. Don't do the tapping. Not good at night in bed, unless it's something you know. But you get the idea. You can do the visual. You can visualize the entire thing. You can go through the speaking it to yourself. I feel comfortable. I'm making it easy. I'm okay. It's good. I feel comfortable. Right? You can condition that again and imagine yourself going through the doors. You see how you can use that? Just as you're running off to sleep, a couple of minutes, that's all you need to do, and you'll be feeding the same messages to your unconscious mind all the time. Suddenly your brain goes, yeah, I've got this. Another thing you can use, very quick one, is power poses. Anyone know about power poses?
Yeah.
Yeah? So you know this thing, people used to worry about me. This is a power pose, right? This is not. This is a power pose. You look up Emma Cuddy power poses on TED Talk. And what they do, we now know this is absolutely true. If you stand in a power pose, like this one, and there are several, I call this one the American General. Get out of here! You know that kind of thing? What it does, they've done research now. If you stand in this power pose before you go into a collaboration meeting, an invitation to a collaboration, what happens is your brain starts sending signals to your body that you are totally confident. And if you stand in this pose for 2 minutes, I do this before I go on stage at night. Just 2 minutes, just like that. Standing still, ready, relaxed, comfortable. Your brain remembers your confidence. So that when you go on the stage, whatever it is, whether it's a theatre stage or if it's going into a meeting, your brain takes that with you. So they've done research. It just works. So will you do that?
Yeah.
It's useful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. One little tiny thing. Tonal shifts. This is called, there's 3 statements. If you've got a statement that you're going to say to somebody, if you use what's called questioning tonality, it's perceived as weak. So if you're going to say, I want you to buy my project, just imagine that's what you're going to say. Okay? Bless you. Suppose you're going to say, hi, yeah, my name's so-and-so, I'm an independent film producer. I want you to buy my project. I want you to buy my project. Can you hear that? That's an upward tonality. That's called a questioning tonality. If you do that, it's perceived as weak. Right? I want you to buy my project. What's what?
There's a line in Anchorman where he questions his own identity.
They put up the
I'm
same.
not Burgundy.
From Burgundy? That's exactly it. That's the way to remember it. I'm Ron Burgundy?
I'm Ron Burgundy.
I'm Burgundy. So if it goes up, if you're talking to a producer, you say, I'd like you to invest in my project. I'd like you to invest in my project. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah? But if you, there's another tonality which is called statement tonality, which is where you play it on a straight line. So the first one was going up, statement is straight. So if you say, I want you to invest in my project, I want you to invest in my project. But the third one, and the one I suggest you use, is called command tonality. And that's when it goes down at the end. When you say, hi, lovely to meet you, that'd be great. I want you to invest in my project. Can you hear the difference?
Yeah. Is there a way to go into a sentence with that? Because I have found that, like, if say I'm asking someone out, like my voice will go up towards the end of the sentence anyway. Like,
yeah.
it's just a sort of it feels like a physical thing. Like, so is there how do you coach your voice to keep the tonality?
Well, you've answered your own question. You coach it.
That can be endearing when you ask somebody out to work.
Absolutely, it can be. It can be very endearing. It can be endearing. Paul, how's it working for you? How's it working for you? Let's test the data.
How do you practice that kind of thing in your voice then?
We'll try it now. So, what's the sort of thing you might say?
Nick, I have a script I'd like you to have a look at.
So do it first going up.
Nick, I have a script I'd like you to have a look at.
Perfect. That's how you do that. How do you do statement straight?
Nick, I have a script I'm working on I wanted you to have a look at.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay, now do the command tonality going down at the end.
Nick, I have a script I wanted you to look at. Oh, I went up there.
You hear it?
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Nick, I have a script I want you to look at.
Look at. Look at.
Nick, I have a script I want you to look at this.
Much better.
Yeah.
Do you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't it different?
Yeah.
Do you feel it differently?
Yeah.
Everybody feels much better. So the thing is, you already know how to do it. So are you okay with that? I mean, you might have to do it a few more times, I get that, but then, you know, you didn't just jump on a bike and ride a bike instantly, did you? Or unless you're a genius. Do you see what I mean? You got to practice it. So you really practice it. Final little thing, I've got a huge great big meditation, which is fucking amazing, but I think we're not going to have time. So I'm going to finish off, I think, with, do you want to know, there's two things. I can either teach you how to do what I call a 1 minute meditation, where you center yourself for whatever you want to do. That's one thing. Or we can go through what it is that you do if you, after you've done a pitch, and how you understand how that pitch went. Would you like to do that? Second one, second one, second one, second one. Okay, hands up for the meditation. 3, hands up for what you do after a pitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, that wins. Okay, okay. The meditation one, don't worry about it. Here you go. Okay, so after a pitch, this is what we call post-pitch confidence build-up. What you want to do, the first thing you want to do is stay in what we call a dissociated point of view. So associated means you're in the feeling, dissociated means you're out of it and you're being objective. Okay? So you.
Is this before pitch or?
No, this is after. This is after you've done a pitch and you're judging how did it go for you. So you've done the pitch and you're having, how did the meeting go? Really? Yeah? So the pitch itself is finished and it's sometime later, could be a day or two later. And you might be pitching a movie with your friend, you sit down and say, okay, let's go. Let's go over it. Okay? How did we do? First thing, stay dissociated. And you talk about it. And you ask yourself, what did I learn about the pitch? What did I observe? What can I remember about what happened? As you do this, what happens is you create what's known as the competence-confidence loop. Because as you get better at what you're doing, and think about what you're doing, and improve those things for the next time, you get better at it. You develop more confidence. So your confidence goes up. As your confidence goes up, your competence goes up. We've got this, there's a loop that happens now, it's a psychological phrase. As you do, it's like going through the doors. As you go through the doors all the time, the more competent you get at going through the doors, saying your 3 words, the more your confidence will increase. And the more your confidence increases, the more your competence goes up. Yeah? The second one is you do a performance check. Did I do what I came to do? Did we do what we came to do? Did we actually do it? We said the night before we were going to go in and you were going to do that bit and I was going to do this bit, or did we do it? Did we actually do it? Or did we do something different? Why did you say that thing? Well, what did we do? Are you trying to learn from the experience? Not trying to say, fuck you man, you did the bloody thing, you said that, you shouldn't have said that. Trying to learn, what did we do? How can we develop this, right? Then you go through a closed eye process. Literally like you close your eyes, you review what you did, and all the bits that went well, you integrate into your system. So you might see yourself going, yeah, when I went in there, I joined this person, we did that, we talked about this thing, that went really well. And then you go, yes, and you accept that in, and you build it into your reaction. And then if you want to, you can also do you can do the whole thing as a visualizing what's going to happen the next time. Yeah? So, now there is a meditation thing I was going to do, but there's not time, really. I don't think. Because you guys need to eat, right? Because it's 1:15, and it will take at least 15 minutes.
Well, some people are coming back after lunch for the screenwriter class, but if they're not, and they want to hang on, you're willing to do that. It's up to you guys, really.
So that's up to you guys. So the first thing as well is to say, if you want to, I've created a page with various things that are useful, which you can get on my website. If you go to nickdunning.com/pitch, okay, that's HTTPS. Anyway, nickdunning.com/pitch. It'll ask you for your email address, because I have to do that, GDPR and all that. And then you go and I've written out several things about sort of how to do successful pitches. And it's all, I've written those out. There's 10 pointers on how to do a powerful pitch, the principles about how you do that. And the other thing is what I call a pre-flight checklist. It's like, check, things that you check about, what's going on. And there's another thing in there which is the Hollywood Review, which is there's a survey of about 500 screenwriters and what it was that they learned in terms of how to do a successful pitch. It's really good, and you might enjoy it. So basically that's it, nickdunning.com/pitch, and you'll see on there as well, there's an offer. If any one of you want to do pitching with me, I'm giving you a massive discount, and you'll see what that's in there. If you want to, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. But if you'd like to, that's in there. So that's where we're at, and that's it. Thank you.
Just want to have you guys, if any of you are not involved in the screen.
All kind of got somewhere. Would anyone like to share one? Who wants to pitch this? This is a laboratory, right? This is about exploration. This is about standing up and being kind of like, oh, I don't want to do this. When you do it, you know what? Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
I feel a sense of ease and steadiness in my voice. I see captivated looks on their faces.
I hear confidence in their voices that they will commit to my story.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So you start, absolutely. See if you can include a little bit more in there about the senses of that. So just give me the first line again.
First line was, I feel a sense of ease and steadiness in my voice.
Yeah, I feel a sense of ease and steadiness in my voice. Do you have a sense of confusion or worry in your voice?
Yeah, I'm on the autistic spectrum, so sometimes
okay.
I'm gauging how I'm coming across with my voice, and I can imagine in a pitching situation, you could be so it's more just the sound of your voice. You can sort of feel in your chest and your throat. Just how it feels, but
well, what if you?
Project,
absolutely. How would it be if you? How would this be? I feel completely relaxed in my mind and body.
Would you ever be completely relaxed in a professional meeting, though?
Sure.
So it's kind of it's about having to me it's like about rapport with the person you're pitching to, so that the conversation feels less high stake or high pressure, so that you are more relaxed in how you. So because I think you would go into pitching thinking it's high stakes.
Well, that's a whole nother ball game, exactly, because that we'll come on to that a little bit later. What if you said I feel a sense of ease in my body?
Yes, yeah.
Could you go with that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
See, that's kind of like a simpler way of doing it. I feel a sense of ease. I see the room filled with energy. I feel connected to the person I'm there. I hear really comfortable sounds. My voice sounds comfortable. When you change the words, you change your experience. And as you change the words into more simpler, easier to understand language, your brain gets it much quicker. Because there's a conscious mind and your unconscious mind. The thinker is the thinker, and you've got the prover is your unconscious mind. The thinker is the conscious mind that kind of works on very, very fast, logical kind of step-by-step stuff. But your unconscious is like a kind of wonderful child that just needs simple guiding. So if you start writing in simple language like that, the brain goes, okay, and follows along. Get the idea? So, how will you know when you got it? Anyone else got something they want to share about that? Yeah, please do.
Okay. I hear the sound of an audience clapping in a cinema after my film has been shown. I see 7.5 for my film on IMDb. I feel a sense of satisfaction at having told a good story and made a great film. Also, I feel happy with the friendships and connections I have made.
Wonderful, wonderful. Do you feel that? it's like, I want to just have one thought though. That is like the film is made and the film is all great.
That's
right?
still at the end. That's the end.
No, but that's fantastic. It's great because that's a great goal. That's a great goal to have is where you're going towards. But if you're going to just into a meeting, just for the pitch itself, just rewrite that very quickly for the pitch itself. But you're spot on. You've got the feel of it, the language of it, perfect. Make it more specific to the thing. Do you want to go?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've got this, but anyway. When I envision my story coming to life, I see a broken woman struggling to survive in our socially corrupt world. I feel her plight to move forward is visceral to the people who meet her as her painful emotion screams internally. She struts confidently with what I see as eternal sadness in her eyes.
That's wonderful. That's the story.
Yeah,
that's the story. Do you hear the difference?
Yeah.
It's a great story. It's a great story. But what we're focusing on is the pitch meeting.
Yeah.
So you want to see yourself in the meeting, in the actual pitch itself, and hear the sounds inside the room and the feelings inside the room. Yeah? Have another go at that. That's great though. Anyone else? No?
So I did not write the correct thing.
No, there's no correct. There's nothing correct. You know, don't worry. You can write it wrong. I fuck it up all the time, and that's how you get better at what you're doing. Is by just getting it wrong. Anyone else? Anyone want to go? Please do. Yeah.
I feel the energy of inspiring people when I am on stage and making them feel happy. I see myself full of gratitude when I am acting in English, which is my second language. And when I watch my work and I hear my subconscious telling me, you can do that, it empowers my confidence.
Right. Again, that's more to do with how you're feeling. Do you think that's more specifically in the meeting? Would that be in the meeting itself?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you see what I mean? I think when you're talking about the acting and seeing yourself on the stage, that's the performance.
Okay.
But this is the meeting when you're actually actively engaged in connecting with the person who might buy your story or you might, you might sell it to them or whatever. You see what I mean? But keep going. You see how this is activating what you're doing. And notice how one word changes everything. If you put a different word in, things are different. Do you want to give me one?
Yeah, I'll do this bit. I hear a clear, calm, enthusiastic, fun, trusting conversation where we understand each other, and I trust myself to walk away if it doesn't feel joyful.
Great. I'll just rephrase that from a negative at the end into the positive.
Yeah.
You trust yourself if it doesn't feel joyful.
Or right.
Or right. So you trust yourself to be comfortable with the outcome, whatever happens. See, if you go into the negative, if it doesn't feel joyful, what that can do is it can make you start looking for the negative.
Yeah.
So I'd be wary of that, and try and put that into a positive. The positive language actually just helps the connection, helps the way that you feel, and helps the way that you talk to yourself. Yeah? So when you're saying to yourself, things are going well, like I'm doing at the moment, it's okay, Nick, don't worry, it's okay, you're doing great, it's okay, we've got this. Right? See what I'm saying? That's kind of, literally, I'm saying that to myself as we're here. I'm going, this is going great, these people are fantastic, this is great. That's what I'm talking to myself. That's what I'm saying inside my mind and body.
What was the positive?
Turn around for that.
The positive, for that one, I think could be that I'm comfortable with the outcome, I'm comfortable with whatever outcome. Because I trust in everything I do. Do you see how that keeps you moving through? Yeah? Cool. Right. So, now we're going to talk about pitching tools. This is when you go into pitching itself. There are 3 pitching tools. I'm going to cover very quickly because you all know all this stuff probably, so I just want to cover it real quick. There are 3 different types of pitching tools, 3 different time-sensitive situations. You might meet someone just walking past and someone says, hi, how are you? and you say, what are you working on? And you give them what they call a logline pitch. Right? A logline pitch is just it's a one-line sentence, right? So, the three forms are the long line pitch, elevator pitch, and the long form pitch. Okay? The log line pitch I describe as this: a sensory-rich bullet exploding in the catcher's mind and body system that encapsulates the entire story in one line. I can see the fear and the panic. They're going, one line! It's taken me 400 years to write this thing. So here's an example. I sold a story to Ed Guiney, you know, the guy, Element Pictures. This was some time ago. It was a series called Pedigree. And I was saying to him, Ed, it's called Pedigree. It's about families. And he said, what's it about? I said, well, think of it this way. Pedigree is Dallas with horses instead of oil. Right? Now, just as a matter of interest, what scenes do you see in your head when I say it's about a family and it's Dallas with horses instead of oil? What scenes do you see?
I see like a mansion.
You see like a mansion? A ranch?
Family on a ranch.
Family on a ranch. What else?
Horse racing.
Horse racing.
Money.
Money. Dallas. Lots of money, right?
Hats.
Lots of money. Lots of money. Lots of hats. Lots of hats. Okay. Right? Oh, I see. Yeah, right. Rodeo. So you've gone American. Okay, so you could go there. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? Dallas with horses instead of oil. 3 or 4 words. And all of you have had a connection with that. And who do you think you could test your ideas with? Each other? Just a thought. Right? So that's how you test it. That's how you figure it out. That's how you know when you try your pitch and you say, this is what it is, and they go, don't like it. It's not got through. But when someone says, you know, Dallas with horses instead of oil, you go, oh. That's how you know. That's how you know. Okay? The elevator pitch is a slightly longer pitch. So logline pitch, think of it as a bullet straight into the brain. Boom, one thing. The elevator pitch goes like this. The one I did anyway was something like this. Pedigree is about 2 warring families in Ireland, connected by blood, who compete in the cutthroat world of international horse racing to devastating effect. Right? I think I'd rewrite that now, but you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So it's just a small thing. So if someone says, oh, Dallas is a horse instead of, well, that sounds good. What's it about? Well, it's about 2 warring families who, right? And if people are not interested, move on. That's why you hear people talking about they've got lots of log lines. They carry lots of log lines, like pistols. You know, they've got them. You like this one? Yes, go with it. If you don't, go with that one. Okay, that's why. That's why you always take something else with you. So you've got an opportunity. And the long form pitch is literally, you know, you're going in the room now. So tell me about it. Well, it's about these 2 families called the McCanns and the Reardons, and it's about, you know, one of them is the half brother of the other, and it's the same mother, and his name is Joe, and his name is Mick, whatever it is, right? And you go into the depth of it. You start talking about the characters, you talk about the actual structure of the story. Okay? That's just so you know what they are, yeah? So, the most important thing is that all of your, everything that you're doing, the pitching that you're doing, encapsulates your one big idea, right? Your one big idea that you've got to communicate. The one story that you want to say. The one story about this woman that you're writing, right? The one big idea, whatever that is. That's the whole point of pitching, is to sell the other person on that so that you get them, you get buy-in on that. So how many of you guys have actually pitched before? You have? Well, how did it go?
Not great.
Not
Not 200 people though.
How many?
Not 300 people.
300 people?
The audience, yeah. No,
Was
that's
that
okay. It went okay.
Was that Rainbow?
Yeah, it was in college about 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Alright.
Back home in one. Yeah, I went on stage and it was, we invited lots of crew from the industry and producers, and yeah, no one came up to me at the end, but that was a lesson.
But a bit of a lesson, yeah.
Yes.
I did one of those in,
Sorry?
there was a thing called rain dance. Do you know rain dance, anyone?
Yeah.
Rain dance in the UK years ago, I went up and did one of those pitches like that, and it's like 300 people, and you go and do it to 300, it's pretty scary. It is pretty scary. But a little bit later on today, we're going to learn about how you get through all of that. Because we're going to get rid of the fear. Can you feel it leaving your body anyway?
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of like, it's just talking to people. It's not actually pitching. In fact, I like to reframe it. And we'll come on to that. Because pitching causes all sorts. If I say the word pitching, what do you feel? Put on the spot. Pressure. Judgment. A test, exam. Uneven.
Feels dependent on success.
Dependent on success. Right? That's what the word pitching does to our feelings. What would be another word we could use instead?
Opportunity.
Opportunity. What's it? But you're going in for an opportunity. Perfect.
You're inviting someone to collaborate.
You're inviting a collaboration. So what are you doing tomorrow? Oh, well, I'm inviting a collaboration. Is that different?
Yeah.
Do you feel better with that?
Yes.
I'm inviting a collaboration.
You're doing control people like you're in a more powerful position.
Exactly. That's so important. If you go in there thinking, you know, I'm kind of like, oh, a picture is the sort of, it's the animal and the mouse, isn't it? You know, you feel, oh, hello, please help me, you know. Do you know what I mean? But if you go in, you like that one. If you go, you know, if you go in and you kind of go, I'm inviting a connection. That goes back to what you said about Bryan Cranston. That's what he's talking about. It's the way he's talking about sharing in the exactly. And when you connect like that, inviting. What did we say? Inviting a collaboration. I love that. Isn't that great? What are you doing tomorrow? Oh, I'm going for a collaboration. I'm inviting a collaboration with Channel 4. Right?
It's kind of in a way like as if you've already decided it's going to
Exactly.
happen. Yeah.
Exactly. And then you're going in and you're saying, look, I've got a pen. I've got this pen. Do you want my pen? You don't want my pen? Okay, see ya.
I think the word inviting there is very,
It's very powerful.
yeah, because if you invite someone to your house and they don't turn up, you don't care.
Exactly. Exactly. It makes a huge difference. The other thing, if you go in, if you go, please take my pen. Please take my pen. Please have my pen. For fuck's sake, take it. I'm inviting. Do you know what I mean? It takes the edge off that. I'm inviting a collaboration in all the stuff that I care about. Right?
Is it like a starting point, like when you pitched? Like, are you sort of like still to decide yourself if you want to work with that person?
Oh, of course. What happened? Yeah, well, of course. This might be someone it might be somebody I work with. It might be somebody I don't.
Yeah.
The fact that the Channel 4 happen to have billions of, I don't know why I'm using it, but Channel 4 have billions of pounds, doesn't mean that unless they take your project seriously in the way that you value it, you may go to the BBC or you may go to RTE. It depends. And so it's very important to strengthen yourself and your own ideas about what it is that you think. So how many of you think that pitching is like really, really stressful and horrible and ghastly? No? Not too.
Yeah.
It's horrible when you're unprepared. So that's when you can think of it like that. And how many of you think that pitching is like joyful, wonderful, easy?
When you're prepared.
When you're prepared.
I don't know if I say be joyful and prepared. I can still feel a bit.
But you could feel positive, couldn't you?
Yeah.
You can feel okay about it, right? So what would it be like if you had the perfect vehicle that was able to get your brain from here to here? Wouldn't that be cool? What happens if you already have it? What happens if the perfect vehicle that gets you into that good space is your brain? Oh, got one. Can't be bad. So, just stand up a sec. And what we're going to do now is I just want you to have a little look at your feet. Just notice your feet. Okay? Okay? You can see your feet down there, looking at your feet. As you look at your feet, that is the size of your conscious mind. That's it, the size of your feet. That's your conscious mind. But as you look at the floor and allow your mind to expand and open up, and you can see the whole of the floor, and allow your vision to open up more and more, and open up in front of you, and behind you, and above you, and all the way over to the left, and all the way out to the right, and all the way behind you, all the way up through space, beyond God, down through the earth, beyond Australia. That is the power of your unconscious mind. So would it be useful that when you're going into a pitching situation, you were able to use the power of your unconscious mind? Would that be useful? Yeah. So, first thing I want you to do is, you see, can you have a look at a point up there? Can you find a single focal point you look at? Yeah? And put all of your attention into that one point. Any one point. All of your attention into that one point. That's what's known as foveal vision. Foveal vision is when you focus on one point. You're looking at one point. And then suddenly you can go into peripheral vision. And as you begin to notice your periphery, and the peripheral vision behind you and around you, and it's okay to blink, by the way, and it's all right to keep breathing. You can feel that you can put your hands up here, like this, and you can notice in your periphery, you can feel, if you bring your hands up, that's it, and wiggle your fingers. You can put the books down, it's fine. Put the books down. That's it. You can wiggle your fingers and move them out to the side. You can still see them either side. Can you feel that your periphery is opening up? Can you feel that? Yeah? And now go back into foveal vision, looking at that one point, the one point that you chose, and notice how your attention is tight, focused, rigid. But when you go into peripheral vision, you can feel that opening up, and you can feel that expansion going on behind. That's it. Bring your hands up, fingers up. That's it. Move them up there. Notice them at the edge of your experience, and notice that you can feel. It's almost as if you can feel your periphery opening up behind you. Now, I know you can't really see behind you, but it can feel as if you can see behind you now, and feel that opening up. And now go back into that single point, back into the focused, tight point of view. That's what you're doing. And now what I want you to do is to put all of your anxieties, worries, frustrations, pain, suffering relating to pitching all into that single point. Everything that you don't like about pitching, all the stuff that worries you, put it all into that point. Go all of your stress, all the tension, all the worry, all the pain, all the fear, all into that single point. And now go into peripheral vision. And notice you can feel that opening up behind you. And feel your body beginning to relax more and more as you feel the vista opening up around and behind you. And feel your body relaxing more and more. And ask yourself, where did it go? Where did it go? Right? So now, take a seat. How was that? Did you feel it? Did you feel it? Could you all feel that? you feel that relaxation? That is what's known as peripheral vision. Peripheral vision is what's used in the martial arts. It's used with the SAS. It's used by elite police drivers. It's used by, it was originally, I think it came from Native American Indians, that's what I heard. Because they can run through the forest, and if you're in peripheral vision, you can see more, you can feel more, and you can connect more. And what happens when you do that is that your whole body relaxes. When you're in peripheral vision, which is something you can practice, when you do that more and more, your entire body cannot be tense. Did you feel it?
Yes.
Yeah? Did you sense it? Yeah. Is that something that might be worth doing again?
Yeah.
Right? Any worries? What am I worrying about? Put it all into one stop. Worry, worry, worry. I hate this. Peripheral vision. Alright? Cool. You guys are good. So, now we're going to talk about the reticular activation system. This is something, have you ever had this thing where you've been walking around and you say, okay, I'm going to go shopping. And I'm going to go and buy a pair of gym shoes. And you're thinking about, give me a name for gym shoes. Nike, right? You're going down the road looking at Nike, there's Nike, and you're thinking Nike shoes. And every time you walk around, you go into any shop, all you can see is everybody's wearing Nikes. You ever noticed that? You know, you're thinking about a car, and all you can see is a Toyota. Because that's the one you're thinking of. It might be a Lamborghini, but then you think that's a Toyota. Right? Doesn't work with Lamborghinis. It's not the same one. Yeah, a friend of mine did this thing once. He said, if the secret is so great, where's my Lamborghini? But, you know, right? That's the kind of thing that you can do. You see, that's how your brain is conditioned to work for you. So that's called the reticular activation system. That's actively happening inside you all the time. So what we're going to do now is we're going to direct this. We're going to direct your brain to go for what it is that you want. Things like, what do we call it? Invitation.
Invitation to collaborate.
Invite. You want to invite collaboration. You can go for that. Imagine your whole brain behind you going for that. Okay, so up we get. We're going to get the energy going now. Now, I want you to think on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your level of energy at the moment?
7.
7.
8.
8. 9. 6.
5.
6. 7. Huh?
4.
4. That's okay. We'll get you up there. 6. 6. 5. 5. Okay, good. Right. So what we're going to do now is called neurotapping. This is a new thing. There's this guy. Anyone heard of Nick Oldman?
Yeah. Yes.
You know the tapping solution. If you haven't found him, do check him out. I think it's really good stuff. So what we're going to do? Take your hands. Put your hand a bit of a thing like that. Take your hands out, and we're going to do this. We're going to bang the backs of our thighs all the way up, all the way up, all the way up the bum. Right hand, left on your left waist, up to your armpit. Here, from the wrist, up to your shoulder. And on the chest. Left hand on the right, here, all outside. On the wrist, all the way up. Okay, above the eyes. Side of the eyes, under the eyes, under the nose, chin, above the ears, top of the head. That last bit's not true, but that's the thing, right? That's what you do. So, let me just ask you now, where is your level of energy? How is it now?
Yeah.
What number? 9.
Yes.
Right. 9. It's all gone up 1, right? Another thing I want you to try is this. Do you know that if I ask you to take wherever you are now and level up your energy by 1, go 1 more, okay? Just inside your brain, level it up. Just raise the level of energy up in your room. Now, go. Got it? Did you know you could do that? Did you know you could raise the level of your energy in your mind just by saying, let's go up one? Did you know that? Pretty cool, right? Okay. So, now what we're going to do is you're going to get into groups of 2. Again, choose someone you do not know. Okay? Andy, you're not allowed to talk to him.
No, that's
Yeah. Choose someone you do not know. Choose a partner. Someone you do not know.
Hi.
Okay, right. Yeah, you go with him. Okay, listen up. So, one of you is going to be A, and the other one's going to be B. Choose which is which. Okay, A, all the A's, listen up. The A's are going to be what we call a positive pitcher. Okay? B is going to be called a badass catcher. Right? So B's job is to do.
And it's about more countryside, like suburbs. Yeah.
How about yourself? Well, the one idea that's come to mind is my newer idea and like very underdeveloped. It's kind of I'm not sure if it's a sketch or if it's a short film or what. It's set in a world where this girl protecting it's really catching on. And so, like the way that we're all connected to and then you go walk around with like, you know, like some music or hot atmosphere, the candy and beer, the idea of
Okay, great, lovely, thank you so much. Did you swap around? Did you get a chance to swap around? Did you get a chance to swap around? Yeah? Okay,
pitching or working on pitching anything at the moment?
I am.
Let's go. Okay, Chris.
Take
a seat.
Oh, it's take a seat again. Okay.
Sort of story that I'm working on.
Hi there. Now go back to your seats now. Oh, your seat, okay?
Well,
That's it. Great. Okay, so guys, first thing that's happened is just so you know, you've just now pitched your story to someone you didn't know, right? True?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, how was that?
Good.
Good, right, that's what pitching is. Okay, just so you know that. So, how many of you can pitch? You just did it. So how many of you can pitch? You just did it. Yeah, how many of you have broken the ice of it? Get the idea that that's the kind of feeling that you're going to get through, right? That's what you're going to do. So what we're going to be doing, this whole couple of hours that we've got together, is going to be, I'd like an agreement, if it's possible with you guys, to start with. What we're going to be doing is a laboratory. It's a kind of an exploration. We're going to be looking into what is it that makes a great pitch. What is pitching? What does it do? How does it work? And how are the things that we can actually put in place that make it better for you guys, okay? So, that's the first thing. So I'm going to ask, what makes a great pitch? Now my definition is this. Specs on. A great pitch is when if you imagine you're going into a pitching situation, you're in a studio somewhere, you've got a pitcher, and you've got the catcher. The pitcher is the person who's got the idea of the story. The catcher is the producer or the executive or whoever you're talking to. Pitcher, catcher, okay? So, a great pitch is when a powerful connection is made between the pitcher and the catcher. You don't need to write this down, guys, I promise you. This is all going to be recorded and you will all get this whole thing free to keep it so you always have it for later, okay? That's one of the things we wanted to do, just so you know that, okay? So don't worry about, I'll tell you when to write, I promise you, I want you to focus on this, okay? So a great pitch is when a powerful connection is made between the pitcher and the catcher via a sensory-rich bridge that activates feelings, sounds, and images in the mind and body of both the pitcher and the catcher that leads to a successful outcome for both. That's my definition, okay? One of the things that often comes up with people pitching is that they think and focus on themselves. How am I doing? Am I doing okay? Am I all right? Is it okay? We'll look into that a little bit later on. The most important thing is to create this connection via this sensory-rich bridge between the pitcher and the catcher. Does that make sense? It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like it. So what is a sensory-rich bridge? So what happens is, as human beings, when we communicate via the 5 senses. There's visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, which are feelings, and then there's smell and taste. Those are the feelings and the modalities of thinking. This is the way the brain actually works. It's seeing and thinking and feeling in pictures and sounds and images all the time. You know when you hear the sound of an ice cream van? You get a feeling, don't you? Dentist drill. You know what I'm saying? These sounds, these pictures, words make differences to all the people that you're talking to. And what's important about the way that we communicate is that through neuroscience now, we now know that the communication that we do as human beings, 55% of the way that we communicate is through our physiology. Physically. It's how we communicate physically. And if you know what I mean by being physical, you know, you get different messages, don't you, when people are physical. Yeah? So your physiology is very important. 33% of the way that we actually communicate is via our tonality. So if I say, I love you, that means one thing. So I want to look at EastEnders, that one. It's like, Ricky! You know. It's like, you know, if I say, I love you, that's one phrase. But if you say, I love you, it's a completely different thing. Same words, different tone. And can we agree that the tone has an effect on us? Yeah? And 7% of the communication comes from the words themselves. I don't know about you, when I first heard that, I went, my God. Is that startling? Yeah. Right? So that the communication, when we're talking about the sensory-rich bridge, we're trying to talk about the physicality, the feelings, the emotions, the passions, and the words. The words are important, of course they are. They, you know, just because it's 7% doesn't mean they're to be forgotten. They're very important too. But that is what makes the big, deep connection. That's how you make the proper connection. So your first question that you're going to be looking into when you go into any kind of pitch, before you go into the pitch, is this. Who is your audience? And you're going to become a detective. You put on this, you know, the stalker and the deer, this. You're going to become a detective. That's what you're going to be. That's the first thing. Sherlock Holmes. You've got to find out about the company. Let's say, has anyone got a company they're thinking of pitching to? Anyone thinking of pitching to Channel 4? BBC? RTE? Anyone?
Yeah.
What? Who? Yeah?
Yeah, all of the above.
All of the above? So, first thing you can do, with whichever company that you go to, go and search online for their mission statement. Right? When a big television company is making something, all the execs from the top all the way down, they all have to connect to the mission statement of the company in some way. And if you look in the language that's actually written down into the mission statement, you will find incredible clues. Like, you know, common buzzwords now, diversity, visibility, access for all, right? These are big, big phrases, and they're huge clues that you as the detective can mine and you can find out. The more time you spend looking into those things, you can find them. So when you're in the pitch and you're talking about your pitch, and there's a pitch usually goes in 3 forms. You know, you start off and you're having a little bit of a, hello, how are you? Nice to see you. You look really good. I like your shirt. That's really nice. Nice to see you. So what have you got? And then you start pitching the story. And then at the end of it, you go into, yeah, cheers, thanks a lot, see you later. Did you see the game last night? Okay, all the best, bye. That's what a pitch is, right? It's a little tiny little thing like that. So in the middle of that, at some point, if you can say, yeah, the pitch we're doing is, it's the story we're making is filled with diversity. It's most important that the diversity casting is very important, right? You're hitting the buzzwords that are mission critical to any of the companies. And each of the companies will be different. RTE will be different to Channel 4, Channel 4 will be different to the BBC, BBC will be different to Virgin 1, whatever's going on, okay? That's it. Do come in. And do you need a chair? Oh, there's one there. You okay? So that's it. And so when you've got the language, everything makes a difference. You can make a proper connection to the company when you're in there, okay? So make sure you do that. The other thing you want to do is start looking on IMDb. Everybody got IMDb? All know that one? Have you seen IMDb Pro? Yeah. Does anyone know about IMDb Pro? IMDb Pro is literally a kind of, it's a database of everything that happens in terms of the film and television industry. Everything is in there. Anyone who's connected to anyone is on there. If you're going in to pitch to Channel 4, you want to find out who the casting directors, who the executives are, who the commissioning editors are. IMDb Pro, it's all in there. If any of you don't have IMDb Pro and you need access because you come through here, I have it, I will do it for you, okay? That's you can use that, we can make that work. Because it's very important, it gives you so much information before you get in. Another thing we can do in terms of the research and the detective work is use Dr. Google. Dr. Google, who we all are familiar with, imagine saying, have you never heard of someone says, what? What's Google? That would be weird, wouldn't it? My dad calls it Dr. Google. Well, no, he calls it the Google. Yeah, the Google. I mean, you can find it on the Google. So, have you come across Google Alerts? Yes. You have. Google Alerts are a thing, and you can, I'm not going to show you how you do that, but you can go and check this one out, it's really easy. Google Alerts, right? It's easy to remember that one.
Yeah, 3 times fast.
Say Google Alerts, like Benedict Cumberbatch. So Google Alert, what it is, if you wanted to say, supposing there was a producer you wanted to work with, let's say it was Quentin Tarantino, for example. You go onto Google Alert, and you type in, and you create what's known as a Google Alert. You type in Quentin Tarantino, and anything related to Quentin Tarantino pings into your letterbox. Right? Is that useful?
It's a lot of alerts.
Huh?
It's a lot of alerts.
It's a lot of alerts. Yeah. But you see how you can use that? So if you're starting to find out about something, someone, somebody, you get information, you get clues. This business is all about relationships. It's all about building relationships and building connections. Paul and I were talking about that a bit earlier, weren't we? We were talking about that outside. You know, and it's so true. When you go in from an actor's point of view, or in film as well, if you go into a studio setting or something like that, and you meet an assistant, the assistant can be 20, 5 years later, she's the producer, right? So you really want to make sure that you're doing you're making these connections now, because they really do make a difference in the future. The other thing you can do is get to know the material that they're doing. Let's say it's a Channel 4 thing. You want to start watching the videos, the stuff that they make, read papers, read books, anything connected to the material that they are producing. Because anyone who's in one of these big shows, you know, in big TV companies, when they're producing something, that's their baby. They really want this to work. So you've got to think about it that way, that you're going to help them to take care of their baby, right? It's that precious. So the more you can find out, the more little clues that you can get, the more you can connect to what their real lives are, what's really happening, the better it can be. Social media. How many love social media? How many hate social media? Okay, so good news and the bad news. You're going to have to do social media, right? You've got to be on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, all of these things. You do not have to post pictures of cats. And I see the other day, cats skating on a tortoise.
That's the best thing about it.
Well, I know, but it's not. It is for, yeah, but it's the distraction. That's great for that. But it's not great for the business, right? So if you hate those things about social media, which is all about, you know, overall people always putting about themselves and how great they are and all this, totally agree with you, I understand. But for business connections, which is what you will be doing, it's critical. Everybody now is on social media. All the film producers, all the film companies, all of them have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, all of them. You need to get to grips with that because you can connect to them. Does anyone here loathe the idea of doing any kind of posting like that? Let me just suggest you two things. One, Paulo Coelho. Anyone heard of Paulo Coelho?
Yeah.
Sold 150 billion zillion books, or something like that. Wrote The Alchemist. Extraordinary book. Worldwide, global. He posts on social media every day. Why does he do that? Because he wants to connect, as he calls it, his art to his followers, the people that he's with. Okay? Think of it that way, that the connections you're making are about artistic, creative, positive, beneficial communications between people, and you will begin to make more and more connections. I'll give you an example. There was, about 2 years ago, I was doing, I connected up with a woman called Marcy Liroff. Anyone know Marcy Liroff? You know her? She's a casting director. She cast E.T., she cast The Poltergeist, all of Spielberg's films, all of those films. She did Blade Runner, huge. And I started following her on Twitter. Sometime later I found out that she quite likes dogs. She put these pictures. I've got 2 dogs. So I wrote, they're nice, and I shared a picture of my dog. Sometime later she shared a picture of hers. Sometime later I'm thinking, and I'm talking 3 months later, 4 months later. Suddenly I'm doing a play at the Abbey Theatre over here, around there, wherever it is, around there, called Let the Right One In, which was about the vampires. I get a text. This is probably about 1.5 years after. Nick, hi, Marcy here. I'm in, coming to see Let the Right One In. I'm in tonight. Right? So, when people say it's not worth doing, I disagree. And it's not about, I'm trying to connect with you because you're going to give me a job. It's not that. It's not about, oh, I watch my movie because it's the best movie I've ever made and this is it. It's not about that. It's human connection. Human, significant, positive connection. Yeah? That's a way to, does that in any way reframe a little bit for you? Kind of like look at it that way, you kind of go, this might be it for us. There might be something in the social media. Right? So the next question is, what do you want? What is your goal for your pitch? What will having this goal give you, get for you, or do for you? Give me an example. Who's got a pitch they want to pitch? Come on, we've got to do this. Go on, someone go through it. Who's it going to be? Go for it, yes! Come on, Dave. Give us an idea of what has to do the pitch. But what do you want? What's the goal? What do you want with the pitch?
What do I want with the pitch?
Yeah, what do you want?
I want for people to feel really strong emotions that I believe that I've conveyed in the script that I've written. I want them to feel the beats. Perfect example is a recent short that's in post-production now. And right towards the end of it, at the end of the short, there is an intercutting scene where you're really going to feel for the lead female character, and you're also going to feel sorry for the lead male character as well. And I'm looking for people to feel that, to actually really feel sorry for the lead guy, and really believe that he's walking into a trap on that. I'll see it in a few months, please God. But that would the genuine thing that I want when I imagined what I was writing and what I was doing. I wanted them to feel what I believe they can feel from watching.
Can anybody feel that?
Yeah.
Don't you feel that? Mm-hmm. Does everyone not get it? Do you feel the connection?
Yeah.
That's what is the hook. That's what gets things moving. That's what does need. So, anyone else? Got another one? Yeah, good man. Anyone else?
To pitch our project?
Yeah. Well, no. What do you want by pitching? What do you want? What's your goal in pitching? Do you want, for example, do you want to just make money? Do you want to make a connection? Do you want to raise your profile? Do you want to become famous? Do you want to do more work for the disabled community? What do you want? What is your goal? What's the goal?
We want them to want to support your project, like not just be interested in it. They feel like, ooh, I want to see a legendary, so.
Yeah, well, what's under that? So you want them underneath the project, you want them to what? To
connect with the project.
To connect with the project. You want them to connect with the project, right? What about you? Anything else? Go on. What do you think you would do if you could? You'd want to...
You also want them to trust.
To trust?
You can achieve that project. So not only are you pitching the ability of a third person.
That you're the person to do it. You want them to have faith in you, to trust you, to believe in you, so that they think, yeah, I give this guy or this woman the money, they're perfect, they'd be great. You're trying to get buy-in, right? You want them to connect to your vision, to something you're doing. Yeah?
I think you have to you as a person, do you know what I mean, in order to sell yourself, because essentially you are a product of what you're selling. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's what it boils down to, and that kind of connection with somebody is kind of going back to what you were talking about, just having that there, you know what I mean? So.
Absolutely. You want them, there's a difference, isn't there? Because if you want them to, you want to pitch your project to them so that they like you, that's a slightly kind of different thing to, I want to pitch my project so that they invest in me.
Yeah. I want to get to a place where I don't mind if they like me or not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that I believe so much in what I'm doing. And present it in a way that's like, okay, this is my project, this is my short film, or this is me present myself as an actor. And I want to connect with you, but if you don't get it and I don't get it, I'm okay with that.
Are you okay with that? Yeah, that's a great place to be too. That's a great place to be too. So what is here's a question then. What is your positive intention in pitching that project?
I want to share what I do and show this is the belief I've got in my head at the moment now, stop myself losing my mind when I got project. So I want to share what I do. I was listening to Brian Cranston talk about this and say, right, this is my interpretation of it, and I'm getting to act, and if you like it, that's amazing, but if you don't, I'm giving the best version of it that I can.
Right.
Instead I can leave the room and go, oh gosh, she's done that was Sharon. Oh. You know, they're playing it over and over again.
Absolutely. So you're going into the positive intention does anyone else, what would your positive intention be in that situation? What's the positive intention of pitching your story there?
Well, the thing is, the stories that I have are very visceral and passionate for me. So to get that across to somebody, to share it, do you know what I mean? So that somebody gets it. Because I watch movies like pretty much every given hour that I can. And I'm constantly breaking them down, dissecting them, and looking to where the mindset of the person who created the story came from. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the twists and turns and stuff. And this is the kind of thing that when I watch something and I engage with it, that I want to give to the people.
Yeah.
You know, and I want them to get it and them to feel it. So there's this emotion that they can connect with what I'm doing.
So you want to connect, you want this emotion to connect with them. For what purpose?
Because I believe that's what storytelling is about. It's, you know, you're giving something to people that they can experience. Every movie that I watch is an experience.
So you're giving them an experience. So when you go in and pitch, you want to give them an experience.
Yeah.
Can you hear that? Did you hear that? See how you connect? If you connect deeply with what's going on, you kind of like, we're just human beings. We go, oh, that sounds interesting. Yeah. So you don't have to get this whole idea. I want to break down this notion of, you know, pitching is, yeah, like you see in the movies. Yeah, there's two guys come in. This guy does this and he does that, and then way. You don't have to do it. You can, but you don't have to do that. You can just connect. You can just connect. LA, you may have to do a bit more like that, but do you know what I mean? Just because that's the way they do it. But here and in the UK, it's more about the thing, connecting with the feelings. So, the idea is, let me ask you this question. If you're struggling with what I'm talking about the purpose of why you've made the film, why you're putting your project on, okay? And one question that can really help you to get into that is, what unique value do you feel you can contribute to the world and humanity as a whole by pitching your project? Right? That's a big question, isn't it? Anyone want to have a go at it?
Would it not be like almost the same answer? An experience, a feeling. That's okay. You can because we're all people.
What unique value, feeling, everyone has feeling. What unique, the idea is to come deep till you find the diamond, right? Your personal diamond. What unique value do you feel you can contribute to the world and humanity as a whole by pitching your project? Go for it.
To kind of see something from a different perspective.
To see something from a different perspective. And what's unique about that?
So, say if you are writing a project and you know from experience, oh, this is how something would happen, but it's something anyway, then you could actually bring that to the table.
Right. So that, again, you can connect something like that. But what do you think the unique value is? Yeah, that's it. This is a process. You don't just get, what's the unique about this? No, sometimes you have to think it through. I'm just trying to get things moving so that you can see where I'm going or feel where I'm going and hear those ideas about the depth, because you can hear it yourself. You've already said you can hear it when you connect to people, when you can feel the emotional connection. That's when you make the biggest kind of connection, because you're coming from a position of purpose and value in what it is that you believe in. And here, if anyone isn't sure about that, let me ask you another question. What do you deeply love about your project? Let's think about that. And now, Paul, can you put this on?
Yeah.
The thing for us. And now this is a question now. If you're still not sure, there's an image going to come up now. Da-da. No.
Next holiday photos.
Yeah. Me on Lanzarote. Look, can you see that? Can you see that? What would make you walk across a plank set up between the Petronas Towers in Kuala Lumpur?
One of them being on fire.
One of them being on fire. Yeah, what would make you do? What would really make you do it? Imagine that. They're the highest, kind of like extraordinary kind of building, massive, they're 3 times the size of anything. What would, if there was a wooden plank, what would make you walk across that? The Petrona Towers in Kuala Lumpur. What would make you do it?
Keeping your family safe.
Keeping your family safe. See how the value's gone up?
Yeah.
The value goes up. Yeah?
then you might go.
Someone you care for?
Yeah.
Or just anyone?
Well, anyone really.
Anyone? If you saw someone who's just going to throw themselves off, you'd be in there to stop.
Yeah, I think most people are
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. What would make you do it? What would make you walk across the plank? What would you make you walk across? I mean, imagine that. You're standing on top of that thing up there. Yeah. What would make you do it? Your niece or nephew? Family again, right? That's a big thing. It's a very big thing. The higher you can raise the value to the higher level of thinking, the more you connect with your purpose, the more you connect with what's really important, and the more you kind of like engage other people. Because when there's a kind of saying that the higher level thinking that you get to, you inspire people too. Right? And we all know politicians that we kind of go, oh, geez. And we all know politicians or other people or celeb or whoever, you go, oh yeah, they're actually doing that stuff that I quite like, you know, and you know that? They pull you up. That's what you want to do for them. That's what you want your project to do for the people you're pitching to. What would make you walk across